Okay, shall we get started?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll just close the door. You're coming? Be quick. You have 30 seconds, or 10 seconds, sorry. Okay, so let's get started. So, welcome to from Java EE to Jakarta EE session. My name is Dmitry Kornilov. I am, so I need to read because I don't remember who am I really. A software development manager at Oracle. I am also E4J member, basically representing Oracle in E4J. I'm also leading quite a few projects. I'm leading Headed-On, JSON Binding and Yason, JSON Processing, and Eclipse Link. Here down there, I don't know why it was moved to the line. It was perfect then last time I checked it. My blog and my Twitter handle, feel free to follow me. And before I actually start, I have to show that this is a safe harbor statement. We kind of obligated to put this slide into slide decks. It's legal stuff saying that what I'm going to talk about, it's not necessarily be a part of the final product, so you should not make your critical business decisions based on that. What I'm going to talk about today, I'm talking about today the achievement and the road to this achievement. And I will try to explain what had to be done in order to achieve it, right? And the achievement is Eclipse GlassFish 5.1 RC1 release. It was announced yesterday, and you can check it out on Maven Central if you go to that link. It's publicly available now. Also, I wrote a relatively small article, explained how did they do it and how big is it and what kind of challenges they had. Basically, my talk is based on that article. The link to the article is there, so when I publish my slides after this session, you'll be able to see it. And we couldn't do it without help. So it's not only Oracle who does it. It's not only Eclipse Foundation how to does it. So I would like to say thanks. Thanks to all Oracle teams, Prague team, IDC team, US team. Thanks to Eclipse Foundation. Thanks to Wayne, thanks to Tanya, thanks to Sharon and all their IP team, and of course thanks to webmasters. Without webmasters we would stuck at the beginning. And thanks to all vendors who participated in building GlassFish and all the related work. So thanks to IBM, thanks to Red Hat, thanks to Payara, Tommy Tribe and all others. This is the achievement and how it started, and it started from one idea from the last Java one about a year ago. So I think it's almost exactly a year ago, is it? No, more or less. Right. So all of you possibly seen this slide. So it was in really many slide decks, right? So it's all about that. We announced that Java EE will be transferred to Eclipse Foundation, and this is the Oracle part, and community and vendors will provide sponsorship, and we will build a new platform. That time it wasn't Jakarta, it was not named, so the name came further, and this platform is supposed to be nimble, flexible, open, compatible. I would add also innovative, vendor independent, and this kind of stuff. So this is the final goal, and you see that we actually released GlassFish from Eclipse. So we not finally, it's not a final release, but we are very close in achieving this call. And Oracle is going to transfer things. So what exactly transferred? Java EE, what is Java? What exactly is transferred? Okay. Specifications, APIs, RIs, TCKs. TCK is very important because it was not open earlier, so no one has seen that. What is TCK, right? Everybody knew that TCK out there, but no one actually seen TCK. And everybody wanted TCK, so TCK is very important here. And also some satellite stuff like manuals, documentation, samples, websites, and this kind of stuff. So this is basically the package what we are transferring to Eclipse. Saying transferring, but transfer process not finished yet. And how big is it? So we are saying APIs, RIs, but how big is it? It can be small, right? On the keynote, Mike already spoiled some numbers. And it's from my blog article. It's okay. So Java EE, right? 5.5 million lines. Big number. And 2.2 million lines of comments. So you see that we're actually commenting quite a lot. APIs must be well commented, right? And it's in 61K files. Oh, quite a lot of files as well. And CTS and TCK, this is what no one's seen before, 4.6 million lines of code. So you see it's comparable with Java EE code, right? So TCK testing suite is just a little bit, million lines of code less than Java EE, right? And it has 1.1 million lines of comments. So you already can mention that, okay, so TCKs are not commented much comparing to Java EE code, right? And it 34K files, or you also can say that the average file size is bigger than Java EE file size, right? So in total, we have 13.5 million lines of code in 95,000 files. This is the overall size of the contribution, the code base. Now you may ask, okay, 13 million, 1.5 million lines of code, and I can't realize really what is that. So I collected some information for comparison here. So the full contribution size, Java EE plus TCK, look, it's slightly more than the Firefox code base. I can't say which version of Firefox. They say current, but maybe they collected this data some time ago, so just Firefox, right? And Java EE code base is comparable with World of Warcraft server-side code base. Who is playing World of Warcraft? Okay, I expected that. This is why I have a second comparison, Linux kernel 2.6.0. It's quite an old version of Linux kernel, but at least you can imagine how big is it, right? Quite big. TCK itself, comparable with Windows NT 3.1 code base. Again, this is quite old. And this is why I have a second comparison, Photoshop CX6. It's also old, but not so old as Windows NT, right? So we have a test suite which is comparable with Windows NT code base, so which is the operating system. This is quite amazing, isn't it? So now we understand that this is really huge contribution to Eclipse. By the way, all this data taken from this information is beautiful.net. If you go there, we have it slightly nicer presented, and you'll see a lot more code base sizes. You can play with it. Quite amazing, actually. So now we realize how big is the contribution, and now I'll talk about how it was contributed. Where is a process for contribution? Here it is. I had many questions, and community had a lot of questions. Why it takes so long? It's Oracle. Oracle slow, right? And you guys are not doing anything. You just get. Oh, I had one comment really funny. The guy said, "You know that there is a possibility on GitHub to change the ownership of repositories." Okay, cool. So I would go that way, really. But we have process, and we have lawyers, and we have architects. So everything's supposed to be done the proper way. Just checking time. So here is the process. And left side is basically Java EE, it's Oracle side, and right side is Jakarta EE. This is the Eclipse side. And the process starts actually, funny enough, it's on Eclipse side. So we needed to create projects because Eclipse Foundation operates projects. And Oracle Java EE will operate repositories. So you may say that, okay, it's more or less the same. It's not really, because a project is slightly bigger than the repository. It has committers, and more important, it has a project lead, which repository doesn't have, right? Okay. We have about 100 repositories, and at the end we decided to create about 39 projects. We have 39 projects now. And Kevin remembers how difficult was splitting repositories between projects. Because some people said, okay, we would like to have it highly granular. And other people said, no, we don't want to have it because it's complicated, right? So at the end, the decision was made to have project for each API, definitely. We would like to have a project for that. And we combined some repositories for RI. So this is Metro, right? It has about 5-6 repositories combined in one project. We have JAX-B RI, again, it's combined from, I don't remember, 4 or 5 repositories are definitely there. And GlassFish itself is more than 10 repositories, right? So you see that from 100, we have 39 projects. Okay, so we kind of solved what repositories are put into projects. Another challenge was naming. Okay, this problem sounds really easy. Okay, so what's the naming? You just get JAX-RS, nice name. So you have JAX-RS at Eclipse. Doesn't work because we have legal, we have trademarks, and we really can't use Java name in the project. So basically, if JAX-RS starts with Java, right, J from Java, so it's not possible to use it. So how to name it then? Because JAX-RS API, it's just a great name, right? So we were discussing it quite a lot. Finally, we found a way that we will call all API projects using the pattern Eclipse project for name of the API. So Eclipse project for JSON-P, Eclipse project for JAX-RS. Nice enough. For implementations, it was a little bit easier, so we decided that we will just add Eclipse before the name of implementation, like Eclipse Jersey. Sounds good. Eclipse Soteria. Nice. So this is how the naming was solved. Another challenge, committers and leaders. Great. So we kind of had committers for the GitHub repository in Java EE, right? But it doesn't really mean that these people are working on that project, right? So a lot of people have rights to this project, but do we want to add 100 people from Oracle and 1 from IBM? And 2 from Red Hat, for instance. Doesn't sound good. So we had a discussion who to put into the project. Finally, it was resolved. So we came out with a list of committers for each project. And we also solved who to put to the lead, right? Because we want to spread leaders between all organizations. We would love to have some leaders from community. Again, we solved it, I think, successfully. So at least somehow it works for now. And the final bit here, just to create a project proposal, which after that becomes then goes through community review, I think it's executive board review, becomes a project, but it takes time. It's not like you submit a proposal now and tomorrow you have a project created. It takes about 3 weeks, if I remember well. So it partially already answered the question why it takes so much time, right? Okay, so this is what happens at Eclipse, and in parallel, we started to prepare Codebase. Remember Codebase, 100 repositories, 13 million lines of code for contribution. And the important thing here are reviews, IP review and corp arc review. So basically Oracle needs to approve code that you guys can give it away to Eclipse. And Eclipse should say, okay, we are accepting this code. So this is 2 important things. When both of them are passed, we're fine, right? So we asked Eclipse, what kind of scanning tools are you using? So we said, okay, so we use Phasology and we use code scan toolkit. Great. So we took the same tools and run it on our repositories, just to simplify work to Eclipse. And we found many things there, many challenging things which we had to solve. So headers, like license headers are incorrect, wrong license txt files, dependencies which are strange, and this kind of stuff. So we solved that, and after that we have 2 approvals. Oracle legal approval. It means that we submit code to our legal department, they check the licenses, then check licenses for all dependencies, and they may say that, okay, you know this dependency doesn't work. License is wrong. Hey folks, you have to change it to something else. Can you imagine that we have a project which works, and we need to change one dependency to something else? Sometimes it's okay, if it's dependency in the tests or in samples. It's fine to remove a sample, right? But if it's in the code, it becomes challenging to, what shall we do, right? So we need to find solution to that. And then it's solved, it goes to corporate architecture. And they can say the same thing, you know, folks. So this dependency is old. Come on, Java EE is old, right? Some projects there are more than 10 years old, so it's obvious that the dependencies there are old, right? But okay, you need to uptake some later version, latest version of dependency. Great, but new versions sometimes backwards compatible. Sometimes they are not backwards compatible. Sometimes they say that it's backwards compatible, but in real they are not backwards compatible, right? So we had to deal with these kind of challenges. So basically, get the latest version, run all the tests, make sure everything works, and so on. And this is on 100 repositories and 13.5 million lines of code. Right? Easy? I don't think so. No, I know it's not, right? Okay. When this step is done, well, last 2 listed here are quite easy. So we are releasing the last version from Oracle repository. Okay, and we are communicating with community that repository is closed. So we are putting the warning message, so this is a closed repository, you just go to Eclipse. So if some developer didn't know that we are moving stuff to Eclipse, and you know, quite a lot of developers, they did not. So we go to the repository, oh, it's archived. So what's going on? Java EE is no more. Wow, how is it? Oh, move to Eclipse. Okay, right? We communicated on mailing list, we communicated on groups.io forums that we are transferring projects to Eclipse. Again, sometimes it's not enough, sometimes people just don't see this, and I think people have some kind of limited, visual abilities, or they see repository closed, don't read anything. Wow, on Twitter, Java is no more. Okay, come on. So, but I hope that by doing that, we filtered a lot of these kind of things. Okay, so after we've done all of that, we can actually do the initial contribution. What does it mean? It means that we submitting a special request to Eclipse Foundation saying that, and attaching the zip file with contribution there, saying this is what they are going to give you. Please check it. And IP team, basically Sharon and her team, are doing a quick check. And in the most cases, it was fine because we dealt with Oracle and it was okay. But sometimes we needed to change something there, but it really was a minor things. So this is fast because it's kind of fast track. So Eclipse checks it. It looks okay. They say, okay, now just submit the sources to the source code repo, and we will continue the background check. So the full check is in progress. And during this full check, we need to submit CQs for every single project dependency. 13.5 million lines of code, 100 repositories, were quite a lot of dependencies. So for each of them, we need to submit a CQ. We did the same thing with Oracle. We need to do it again with Eclipse. This is okay, this is how process works. I'm not blaming Eclipse that it's bad to do. This is fine to do, and this is actually needed to do, right? It's just another step to do. So this somehow goes in the background. So we submitted sources, checks goes, we're submitting CQs. Another thing here is CI/CD pipelines. I'm going to touch it a little bit later. I have a special slide for that. Why CI/CD pipelines are needed? It's because we can release artifacts only from Eclipse Jenkins. Why it's like that? It's because it's basically for security reasons. In OSSRH, the artifacts are deployed. Exists one account per Eclipse project. So JaxRS has an account in OSSRH. Yasson has an account in OSSRH, only one account. And we are asking rights to the target groups for this account. So we are not giving our SSRH account to all committers because committers are changing, right? We're just doing it for one account. And Jenkins pipeline, Eclipse Jenkins, we give access to that only to committers. And job itself has access to that credentials to OSSRH, but these credentials are hidden. So developer can't see them, right? This is not what we usually do, right? This is fine to do, but this is not what we usually do. This is not what we used to. So in Oracle, we also have Jenkins servers, we also have pipelines, we have jobs, we have release jobs, we have build jobs, but we are not doing it this way. We do it slightly different way, right? So this is why it's a bit complicated to get used to this new environment and get used to how to build these new jobs. Other thing here is it's Cloud Jenkins infrastructure, which we particularly in Oracle, we never used it, right? It's a little bit different than a normal Jenkins. Speak IBM, we are not using that as well, right? So Red Hat, do you use Cloud Jenkins? No? You use just normal? Or you don't use Jenkins at all, maybe? Then anyway, so I think all of us, it was new for all of us, right? So that's like another small obstacle that we need to get used to it. Another obstacle here that Eclipse provided us this kind of clean environment, and we actually require quite a lot of things to edit there, right? So we need to have Java there, sometimes multiple versions. We need to have Maven there. We need to have Maven plugins there. So sorry, Jenkins plugins doing something there. So it's not really empty environment is what we need, right? It's our first project, so I think then when we started adding projects there, it became easier because we already know and webmasters already know what we may ask for, but at the beginning we didn't know and we had to request one by one. Okay, we need Java. Okay, this is Java. Now we need Maven. Okay, Maven is here. Okay, so it was a bit slow, just want to say. CI/CD tasks are not finished yet, but we are very close to finish them. So hopefully next Monday we have updated deadline for CI/CD pipelines on next Monday. So this is where we are now. We are building CI/CD pipelines. And after it's done, another step is release review. According to Eclipse development process, we can't release public artifact unless it's approved by the release review. And before the release review, before actually applying for the release review, all background checking tasks, which I was mentioning, initial contribution, is supposed to be done, right? So basically, reviews review can be initiated only when Eclipse IP team finishes all this work, right? And we are really busy now. We are doing really well, but can you imagine that suddenly we received so many projects and we need to process them really fast. So we are busy now, and for some projects, IP check are completed. I know that. For some projects, the process is still in progress. And after that, artifact can be released publicly. Okay, how long I spent describing the process? 20 minutes, right? So this is only description of the progress, but in real it takes months. And we need to do it for every single repository we transfer. So more than 100 repositories, right? So, and the 13.5, I'll keep repeating that, I kind of like this number, 13.5 million lines of code, right? So every single line goes through this process. Cool, is it? Okay, and this is how actually projects appeared at Eclipse. Its timeline started in December last year, and now we are at October. So you see that first two projects appeared at Eclipse is Yasson and Eclipse Link. First two projects, easy project, because actually they were already at Eclipse. They didn't go through all this complicated process. It was exactly like changing the parent project. It was Eclipse RT, now it's E4J. So, but anyway, first two projects are there. First, the real projects which went through all this process are actually that. JSON, okay, so this. JSON-P, JMS, WebSocket, OpenMQ. There were also JAX-RS and Tyros. Jersey was also in the first batch, but it appeared at Eclipse only there in April because Jersey is huge, right? So it was the first batch, all this process. And after that, we have 5 batches, right? And now we are working on batch number 5, and batch number 5 is actually documentation, websites, and these kind of things. So what is not really needed for GlassFish build. So you see that we were working quite hard, and it was continuous. We only had like July, summertime, we contributed only management API that month. The huge batch was in September, where we actually transferred GlassFish, when we transferred TCK, 4.1 million lines of code contributed. And permissive license batch. Permissive license means that we are using EPL2 license for everything except some projects which share codebase with JDK, right? So it's JAX-B, JAX-WS, Sage. These projects are contributed and moved under EDL license, which is basically BSD. So the timeline continues because batch 5 is not there. Hopefully soon we will move everything. Okay, so we talked about how big was the contribution, how complicated is the process, and now we'll talk a little bit about participation. I have 5 minutes. So how community participates there? Who is participating there? So I counted around 80 active committers. What is active committer? I thought that, okay, so if person just have 1 contribution, he's not active, right? So I decided then I was collecting this data, that active committer is a person who did some more than 5 contributions. And contribution, it can be submitting a bug, can be commit, can be submitting a PR, so this kind of stuff. You understand what I mean, right? So we have 80 people who contributed more than 5 things. And we have more than 300 not active contributors, so submitted like 1 bug report or 1 commit, right? Is it active? I don't think so, but these people, we have 300, this kind of people. And over 200 designated committers. What does it mean? It means that committers assigned to the project. So on the paper they are there. I think some of them are really active, but some of them are not doing anything, but just listed as project committers. We have 200 of them. We have more than 1,000 commits in the new projects contributed to Eclipse. Yesterday I ran the script, so it showed me some hundreds, 1,500 something commits. And we have about 900 PRs. Actually, quite amazed with this number, so it's quite big. You know that we have quite close number of PRs and number of commits because we try to be open, and it's kind of bad practice to do direct commits. We usually require a PR, so community see what actually we are committing, so this why these numbers are close. And I have a couple of diagrams. So first diagram is committers by organization. I'm talking about this on the paper committers, right? So I took all committers data from Eclipse and created this kind of beautiful pie chart. So you see that Oracle is still very big. At large it means that we couldn't identify organization of the committer. It can be a community member, individual committer, can be that organization is not listed in his profile. IBM is also big. After that, Red Hat, Dmitry, Fujitsu, Poyara, Webtype, Pivotal, Google. We have someone from Google, didn't know that. T-Maxsoft, right? So this is how it looks now. Does it look good? I don't really think so, because we really would love to have these sectors more or less equal for each organization, right? We don't want to have then some majority like Oracle are committers, right? So this is not the point. I hope that in a year and a couple of years we have more participation from others, and this chart will be like which sectors will be more or less equal. Another chart similar but leads by organization. Again, I see we have the same picture. We have Oracle, which is about 40%, I would say, and after that we have Poyara, and I think it's because of Ariane. Ariane is great. We have Dmitry, IBM, Red Hat, and others. Again, basically we have the same picture, and my vision is it would be much nicer if sectors are have the same square. Okay. That's the goal. Okay, not much time. I promised to talk a little bit about CI/CD pipelines. I'll try to be quick. This is the stats. So we're using Jenkins Cloud infrastructure. There is a link. I am tracking status of jobs using GitHub boards. You can check it here. And this is the status from yesterday. 94 done, 20 in progress, 1 to do. I believe, I checked today, there is much less, so about 16 or 18 in progress now. So yesterday some tasks were closed, which is great. So we are really coming to the point that next week we may finish with 0 tasks. Cool. So currently build pipelines are finished for 35 projects out of 39. And release pipelines finished for 24 projects out of 39, which is perfect. It's finished for almost, I think, for all API projects. It means that we can come to the next step, and next step would be actually uptaking new version of APIs and releasing them to the staging. Next step would be uptaking all of that in implementations. And after that, we can test, build GlassFish, and the final thing is release it. And this is what listed here in the GlassFish 5.1 release plan. So what's green is done, and so far we are meeting all the deadlines. We will see how it works in future, because it's a community project. It's very difficult to predict. It's very difficult to manage it. We will see. Again, so far so good. 5th of November we have a very interesting deadline, which is when actually projects needs to uptake other Eclipse components and be released to OSS RH. Release review is planned 30th of November, and 14th of December planned date for the final GlassFish release. Is it doable? It is doable. We will see how it goes, because maybe there will be some obstacles which we don't know. Maybe community won't be active enough. Again, so far so good. And to help us achieving this, participate. So if you want to help us, you're welcome. This is the Jakarta EE website. This is the mailing list. Check it out, subscribe to it, contact project leads if you are interested in some particular project. Ask lead how can I help, and let's do it together. And that's the last slide. Thank you very much, and I'm perfectly on time. If you have any questions, time is over. Just stop here or catch me somewhere. I'll be happy to answer.